Welcome back to JRAM Kids Online. Today is episode 67 and our lesson title is Moses Throws Up His Hands. So let's jump right into the Bible passage, which is Exodus 17 verse 8 to 16. Here is how the story goes. The Israelites were attacked by the Amalekites. Moses commanded Joshua. He said, "Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill holding the staff of God in my hand." Joshua obeyed Moses and fought the Amalekites. Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of the hill. And as long as Moses held up the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But once Moses had dropped his hands, the Amalekites took the advantage, which meant that they were winning the war. But it came to the point where Moses got so tired that he could no longer hold up his arms. So what did Aaron and Hur do? Aaron and Hur found a stone for Moses to sit on, and then they stood on either side of him and held up his hands for him. So his hands had held steady until sunset. In the end, Joshua had overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it out loud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nisi, which means "the Lord is my banner." He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne. So now the Lord will be at war with the Amalek, generation after generation." So now, what can we learn from this very short story? Number 1, be obedient to God. Can you imagine being in Moses' position? He had to keep his hands up the whole time. And so when his hands were up, that was the only time that the Israelites would have the advantage and would be winning the war against the Amalekites. But as soon as he put his hands down, the Amalekites started to win the war. So Moses had the hard task of obeying, and when he obeyed, they would win. Number 2, we are not alone. So if you remember in the story, when Moses got tired, he had his friends help him hold his hands up. We need to remember that we have friends and that we also have family that God has given us, that when we need help, we can ask them for it. We're not alone in any battle or in any situation that we're in. If we need help, don't be afraid to ask help from your friends and your family. Which brings us to our third and final point. We are not alone, but the most important person that we should remember that is always with us is God. And I'm sure you guys already know that. Because when God is on our side, we are already on the winning side. He has already won the major war when he sent his son to die on the cross for our sins. God is always the winning side, and he is on your side. So whatever problems you face, remember that God will help you get through it, and he will let you overcome when you rely on him. And remember that he is your strength in every battle. And that is the story of the Israelites and the Amalekites. And that's all for today. Have a great Sunday. Bye!